Yo, what is up everybody, and welcome back to another PGA Tour 2K21 tutorial video. In today's video, we are going to be going over the true shot mechanic, which is adjusting loft and spin or draw and fade onto the ball. I'm going to be showing you a little bit more of an in-depth look at it. So let's start off with what the true shot does. So I have the trajectory line up right now just so I can show you in real time what it does. When you hold left bumper or L1 on a PS4 controller, you'll pull up this little menu on the right, showing that you can do things with your left stick and also with your right stick. The left stick controls the amount of loft that you put onto the club. So if you do the left stick up, it decreases loft, it flattens the trajectory out. It does make the ball not go as far, but it will also make the ball roll a little bit more, since you're not having gravity pull that ball down at its most steepest decline into the ground. The ball's going to hit and it's going to roll a ton more. Completely the opposite if you pull it all the way down. That increases the loft on it. On the driver, on this driver especially, it doesn't really do anything to the distance. It actually increases it by a yard, but it won't actually go as far on the roll. So you may be able to carry it about the same or a little bit further, but you're not going to get that huge rollout at the end as you would if you were to keep it, right down the middle where it is. Now you can use this to your advantage in certain instances with the wind. Like this, there's a 10-mile-an-hour wind at our back. You can actually loft it up a little bit to get more of that wind, because the longer the ball's in the air, the more the wind is going to affect it. So you can actually loft it up into the wind a little bit more to maybe carry a little bit more distance. But in the end, it won't roll out as far. So just dependent on what you do and the different type of shots that you do. That's what you do with the left stick. Now on the right stick, without getting into the nitty gritty of the details with it, pretty much the right stick controls the spin. If you go down on the right stick, it will increase backspin on it. If you go up on the right stick, it'll increase topspin on it. So if you get into an instance on where, you need this ball to roll out a little bit more, you need to land it short and get it to run. You can do that by just increasing this up. You can go all the way to the top. It is going to decrease your distance a little bit, just the way you're hitting the ball. But you can get it to run a little bit more. And then you can pair it with, you want to keep it low. Maybe the wind's in your face. You want to keep it low and you want to get it to roll a little bit. You can do that as well using this true shot. Now, if you're using something like a 7-iron, you're going to see that this is a little bit different. When we loft it further up, it decreases the distance quite a bit from where it sits at 151 to a 142. And this is carry distance. So the club loses 9 yards by bringing the loft all the way down or to its highest that it can go. And the same thing goes if you decrease the loft. You will see an increase in distance just because you are, flattening the trajectory out on this club. So instead of a 7-iron, you're kind of making it, like a 6-iron for trajectory. So you will see an increase in some distance, but it'll eventually fall off and you will begin to lose distance as you get it lower and lower and lower. But you can use this to your advantage. Again, if you need this ball to run a little bit more, because the lower the trajectory, the more the ball is going to roll. The higher the trajectory, the less the ball is going to roll. Also dependent on wind, but if it was 0 wind, that is the case that it would give you. Now, people have asked, how do you do the most backspin? If you want to get the most backspin out of a club, how do you do it? To do it, you pull all the way down. You want the highest trajectory you can. You want that ball to be coming steep down towards your landing spot. And you pull the right stick all the way down. So you're adding the most amount of backspin, and you're also lofting the ball up as much as you possibly can. So that is how you do the most backspin that you would like to do. You could also create, forms of kind of like a stinger shot in a way. If you put it all the way up, de-loft it as much as you can, and add as much topspin as you can. This is also the way that you do punch shots, because punch shots are not in the game. You can actually do a form of punch shot by doing this. And what you do is you go up on the stick on the left, up on the stick on the right, and instead of doing a 100% shot, you do like a little 50% shot on this, and you perform a little bit of a punch shot, and you can do that punch shot with any club you'd like. I mean, pretty much all the way down to a 9-iron. Once you get into the wedges, it gets a little bit trickier, but depending on how low you need to get it, you can get this thing pretty low. Like we'll do a 3-iron here. You can keep the ball pretty low, and you can get it to run quite a ways too if you need it to. Like this 3-iron just had about a 30-40 yard rollout. So if you need to perform a little bit of a punch shot, if you need to keep it low underneath trees, that's how you do it in this game, as they did remove the punch shot from the game entirely. Also on the left stick is how you do fade and draw. Depending on what hand you are, I'm a right-handed golfer, so if I bring it over to the left, I perform fade on the ball. And as you can see, it does decrease distance. Our carry is 179. If we do it all the way over, you actually remove 16 yards off of the club. Halfway over, 172. But the more you bring it over, the harder the shot gets. And then if you go in the opposite, that is performing draw on the ball. And the same applies for distances and everything of that nature as well. And then you can get, creative with, if you want to add a little backspin on your fade, or if you want to get a little topspin onto the fade, you can get very creative with the shots and the shots that you want to perform. Like you could do, if you want, a 9-iron, you could fade it, loft it up, and put a bunch of spin on it, and hit the ball. And you can get it to stop a little bit earlier than what it would. The amount of shots that you can do is kind of endless with this system. You can do any type of shot that you need to. If you want to perform, maybe you want to perform, a little bit of a punch shot, but you want to give it a little bit of a fade. Maybe you have a tree right in front of you, and you know you're not going to be able to get low enough. You can do that with the shot shaper. You can do whatever you'd like. It is all at your fingertips. And it can all be done using this shot shaper. Now, there are some tricks with the shot shaper that you can either chart out or just kind of, remember and make your way through a round trying to remember those things. Eventually, it'll just become second nature. But there is some tips and tricks in using this shot shaper to take yourself out of positions of being in between clubs. So let's say you have a shot just like this. Your 7-iron's 151, your 6-iron is 161, and your shot is 157 to the hole, or 158 to the hole. So what you could do is you could do a 151. If you played into the wind, it might be all right. I've been seeing a lot of people actually pull back and try to do partial shots. What you can do is you can actually use the shot shaper to your advantage to get distances in between clubs. So if you had that shot at 157, you could play a 6-iron with full loft into the wind. You have to prepare for that as well. But you could play a 6-iron in a full loft instead of doing a partial shot. Because with partial shots, you're at the mercy of not only hitting your distance, but also matching the tempo for your downswing with it. With a full shot using the true shot, you can just take that full shot. Instead of having to get the distance, you could just take that full shot and match the distance that you're looking for using the true shot instead. Now, there is a drawback to this. The shots do become more difficult the more true shot you add to a shot, instead of just doing a partial. So there are some drawbacks, but it's a lot easier to do this, I think, at least. A lot easier to do this instead of trying to get a partial shot, getting the distance, and also getting the tempo down for it. So what you can do, if you would like, you can actually come in here with your clubs. I'll show you the settings that you need to turn on right now. You're going to be turning on True Shot, Pro Vision, and Trajectory Pro Vision as well. And what you can do is you can come to the range with your clubs and you can chart out all of the distances that you get out of your clubs, if you'd like. You don't have to, but it is something that you can do. You can do, all right, that's 215, that's 213, that's 211, that's 209, that's 207, that's 205, all the way down is 202. And you can do little charts of what that entails for all of your clubs, so that you know if you have a distance coming in to a hole, you know where on the true shot you need to go in order to make the shot that you would like onto the green. You can do it with every single one of your clubs. You can see what the carry distance is dependent on what you do with the loft on the club. And you can also do it, if you'd like, with the spin as well, to see what kind of distance changes you get with the spin for your carry distance. And this is just a tool that you can use just using the trajectory and ProVision True Shot to chart out all of your clubs. That way you always know the distance that you're going to be getting as long as you hit the shot that you are looking for. And you can do that also with your fade and with your draw as well, just to see what distances you have for each of your clubs. But a lot of people will chart out their clubs. They'll come in here and chart it out. And having this tool actually makes charting out a lot easier. It used to be, in the past golf club games, you'd have to just come out and do different lofts and hit balls and try to get, you know, the perfects to see where your distance is. And you'd have to do that just constant shots over and over and over again. With this tool, you can do that all right here, and you don't have to worry about it. Just make sure ProVision wind is off, because if you have the wind on, it's going to calculate the wind into it, and it'll give you wrong numbers. The only ProVision you want on is True Shot and the trajectory line, just so you can see it in action in real time, what your shot is going to be doing. Just to show you the drawback real quick on what this does, we moved the difficulty up to Pro. You can do it with Master too. But if you are looking at your iron and looking at what True Shot does, when you pull this back, it makes your swing plane smaller, and it also decreases your tempo perfect range. The big killer for your tempo, though, is going to be what spin you add on it. You can see that it does shrink it quite a bit. Like if you want to do full backspin, it shrinks it quite a bit from where the standard is. So that is one of the drawbacks for this, instead of doing partial shots. Because with partial shots, the only thing that changes is your distance control. Your swing plane and your tempo stay the same. The only problem is, you know, getting that distance that you need while also hitting the tempo. So for me, if I have the choice, instead of doing partial shots, I almost always try to do True Shot, to loft the ball up to take distance away, or add a little distance if I need to. I will do that instead, because for me, it's easier to hit the tempo correct on a full shot than it is on a partial shot. But maybe that's different for you. But that is the main drawback of the True Shot if you're doing distances for that True Shot. And that is pretty much it. I mean, that's how you use True Shot. There's not a whole lot to it. It's really just practicing with it. I would suggest, if you're new to the game, to keep this line on and to keep your True Shot distance on as well, until you get a grasp on what the different shot shaping is going to do to your club, to your distances on your club. I would keep this on for new players, but this is something that I think a lot of people should use when it comes to distancing out on the course. I've seen a lot of people streaming this game, and a lot of people are going for those partial shots and trying to get that distance down. You know, they want to get 150. It's just so much easier if you do something like this instead to get that 150. Swing 100%, loft the ball straight up, put backspin on it. Maybe not even that much backspin on it. You can dial in your backspin too if you'd like. But for I think a lot of people, it's a lot easier to get your distancing down using True Shot than it is for partial shots, at least right now. And that's True Shot. I would say come out in the driving range, practice it. Practice your spin, practice your draws, your fades, your lofting. Get out on the course, practice it as well. But the shot types are endless. You can create a lot of different shots in this game using this system, and it has been a great addition to the game comparatively to past iterations of this game. So hopefully the next time you're out on the course using the true shot mechanic, you understand it a little bit more and can use it to your advantage. That's the video though today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video or think about subscribing to the channel. More tutorials coming for PGA 2K21. I also just suggest that you check out the elevation tutorial and putting tutorial that I have put out. There will be links to those at the end of the video. I also stream live over at twitch.tv/respawntv, Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're interested in catching the live side of things, you can find me over there. Hope you have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, though, wherever you are in the world. And we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Deuces.